what you wanna know. What guests we have on the show. Wake up and let's go to the Mindless Morning Show.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Mindless Morning Show. We have a new co-host today because Dakota is currently busy doing, fun stuff. We can't talk about it yet. It's top secret. But in the meantime, I'm joined by the wonderful Skylar of the Omega Star 7. Sorry, forgot.
You got it.
Forgot the star. The audio drama podcast, and we'll get more on that. But for now, we definitely have an extra special guest. Pauline Irene Stacey. How are you doing today?
Hello, everybody.
So you're the author of what I'm seeing here is a best-selling book on Amazon. That's crazy.
You got it. No Time to Clean. Listen to Pauline.
And tell us a little bit about what that book is about.
Well, the book is about something that hasn't ever existed and still doesn't exist. It's about a cleaning system for weekly house cleaning. So No Time to Clean, Listen to Pauline will make a huge, huge difference in people's lives. Cleaning is a topic that no one has ever taught us, right? I'm sure your parents didn't teach you how to clean. No one taught them how to clean. Even in school, even if you took like an economics class, right? Home economics, whatever, no one teaches you. There's a lot of tips and tricks out there. You can search the internet and find all kinds of different books on tips and tricks. But this book is about a system. So it takes you step by step, and it's really easy to read and understand, a little manual in how to get your weekly house chores done in 3 hours or less, no matter what the size of your house is. And there's a lot of people out there that say, that lady is crazy.
I got to say, you sold me.
Well, I'm telling you, it's a fact. I had to learn. I had to teach myself. I was going to college full time. I went to school 10 years later than the average student. So I had a 5-year-old daughter as a single mom. And so I would go to school for 4 hours a day. Then I had to clean, a couple houses and then go pick her up at daycare. And I start to think sometimes myself, maybe if it wasn't for this one particular event, I would have never written this book because back in the day, and I hear it's still the same, that if you are late picking up your kids from daycare, like I had to be there at 6, and they charged you $25 for every 5 minutes that you were late. And so that's a good impetus.
Oh my God.
To get your butt in the parking lot at 1 minute to 6, right? To get your kid. Yeah. And so, I was in school all day, then I'd go clean houses. And so I was like, oh my God, I have to get my daughter at 6 o'clock or all hell's going to break loose, right? And so what happened was, I would challenge myself. I would go into a house and say, all right, let me see if I can get this done 10 minutes faster than last week, right? And so, and in doing that, and I'm sure you guys have experienced this if you clean, and I'm sure you do, you think of, but when you are, maybe you don't do it all the time, right? But when you are, it's like it's downtime in your brain. And so you're thinking, right? You're thinking about all kinds of stuff, right? So that's what happened to me. I started thinking about ways to make this faster, so I could get out faster and go get my daughter. And then at the same time, I was working on my bachelor's degree in business management. And I just remember one time I was thinking, again, aimlessly thinking, right, that I had a class, a management class about, I think it was like a Ford Motor Company or something. And they were doing these experiments with conveyor belts, where you put one part on the belt and somebody would do 3 or 4 things to that part before it went down the belt to the next guy and he did whatever. So what they realized was that when one person was doing only one thing to that part, that the production was much, much faster. They were getting more done. So I started thinking about that with cleaning. So see if you can relate to this at all, right? People will say, okay, set Saturday aside, whatever. I'm going to go and I'm going to clean Saturday morning, 9:00. Let's just say that's your time. Okay. And you start and you're like, okay, so you go in the kitchen, then you start doing the dishes. Then you see something on the counter and you're like, oh, wait, this belongs in the bathroom. Then you walk across the house and you go put it in the drawer that it belongs in the bathroom. And you're in the drawer and you're like, man, this drawer's a mess. You start cleaning the drawer. And then you go back in the kitchen. You're like, wow, cleaning takes a long time. You know why? Because you're not cleaning. You're doing dishes, you're doing laundry, you're putting things away, you're organizing stuff, you're putting away the toys, right? You're doing everything but cleaning. So with this book, there's two parts to it. The first part of it talks nothing about cleaning. It's all about the positive mindset, how to get you into the details of how to get you in the right frame of mind. So I don't just tell people, okay, be happy, think positive thoughts, now go clean the house. It's not like that. Like I tell them detail for detail how to clean, what to do, right? So, I mean, I got some props for you guys. So for example, I've outlawed the word rags. We don't use that word in the cleaning world anymore, right? Because what does a rag make you think of, right? Like a dirty job, right? So I tell people to buy cleaning cloths. So you see, they're all nice cleaning cloths. They're all different colors. So automatically, it kind of puts you in a good mood, right? The other thing we talk about is how to dress, especially for like women, right? So women, what do? We put on a dirty old t-shirt, some old jeans, put our hair up in a ponytail, no makeup, whatever. And so how do you expect to have a good attitude if you're dressed like that, if you feel like that, if you're using old rags, right, from the garage with the grease on them and whatever. So we talk about like how to dress, right? So I tell people when it's your cleaning day, the way you should dress is let's imagine that college buddy that, this is a surprise visit, comes knocking on the door and says, hey, let's go to dinner, and just surprises them. You should be able to just take off your gloves, wash your hands and roll. Like that's how you should feel about yourself. Because I will tell you how I got that idea was, remember I was telling you, I went to school for 4 hours and then I had to go clean a house. I didn't have time to dress. I had to wear whatever I was wearing in school. And I realized after all those years of cleaning, I never ruined one outfit. I didn't use bleach. So if you're using bleach, be a little careful, but I never ruined anything. So what's the big deal? So those are the kinds of things that part one gets into, the scientific part about, doing one chore at a time. So, and I don't just talk about just cleaning, because we say, there's no laundry, there's no dishes, there's just cleaning. But even with the cleaning, there's a system to it, right? When we're doing just the dusting, we do just the dusting in the whole house. I have a map in there. It shows you where to start. And it really gives you exact instructions. There's most people, and you guys can raise your hands. I don't imagine that's going to happen to you guys, but women, it happens all the time, feel guilty about the house either not being clean or not having enough time to do it, right? Like that happens to women everywhere. And that was the biggest reason why I wanted to share this, was because when I started feeling not guilty, because I had the house was clean, because you don't think about stuff that's done, right? If the car's running great, you don't think, oh, I got to fix the car. And it just consumes our minds with the cleaning all the time, especially if you're the one kind of, unspokenly tasked, right, in the house as the person that does the cleaning, right? And And so I really teach people how to stop thinking about cleaning. And that's the biggest takeaway. Somebody asked me one time in an interview, they said, what's the number one takeaway you want somebody to get from your book? And I said, would you believe it has nothing to do with cleaning? It doesn't. It's that, anything can be turned into a system. And when you have a system to do anything, no matter how overwhelming it is, right? You feel so much better. And then when the job is done, again, you're not thinking about it. And that frees up time. It puts you in a guilt-free zone where you're not feeling terrible, and gives you more time to spend with your kids and your family and your friends. And most importantly, yourself. Because today, especially now, since this pandemic has hit us, it has changed everything, right?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I'm trying to help people actually enjoy themselves while they're cleaning and not think of it as such a dirty job, you know. So I believe that everybody deserves more time, right? More time, again, for your family and your friends and yourself. Yeah.
I gotta say that's really cool because I mean I don't mind dirty jobs, and then I used to do a lot of things as a plumber, so that gets really dirty. But
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I don't know. There's a difference of dealing with like plumbing over compared to like doing the dishes. Like I just don't want to do them, but I know I have to.
You said
So-
something very, very interesting about like dressing in a way that makes you feel confident. I mean, I think that's something you can apply to all of life. I mean, I've
Yes.
pretty much, since I was like, I don't know, 20 years old, I'm 28 now. I always try to dress in a way that it's not embarrassing if someone saw me out in public.
Absolutely.
And I think that put me in a better mindset. I always feel worse when I'm dressing like, not, I mean, more power to people that dress like that, but I can't go out in just sweatpants or I feel like a fool. I feel like I rolled out. I mean, yeah. So it's like, there's a lot of merit in that. I think being in a good mindset is definitely, if you want to get anything done. I mean, when I got to do any of my cleaning chores, I always just pick the easiest one first, because then if I get something done, that feeling of accomplishment kind of snowballs the rest of it.
Absolutely.
So I definitely, there's a lot of what you said, a lot of merit in it for sure.
Yeah. Especially like, I think about when you were talking about the dressing aspect, and I remember at the beginning of the pandemic when everybody was really home, none of us could ever go anywhere for weeks on end. And, I was listening to all these different seminars and stuff for my actual business. And, they were kind of trying to coach people to not get depressed and get bummed out. And so they would give the advice of, when you get up in the morning, keep your routine and get dressed. And I thought, I already do that because I can't imagine, rolling all day in my pajamas, even if someone wasn't going to see me, or maybe just the top, you know what I mean? Because it really does. It does help to keep, the routine and make you feel good about yourself. And
yeah, you can lose a day real quick. You can lose a day so quickly if you just, I've always, I grew up with like ADHD. So having structure is the only thing that's ever got me to anything that was like accomplishing, was staying to a daily structure. And the second you fall off it all kind of just right down the drain.
And with that, a lot of people have that issue. And when you have them, they're, like I said, it's their unspoken task, right? That it's their job to do the weekly house chores. It's hard and it's frustrating, right? It's super frustrating when you're all over the map. And so with the book, because it gives you step by step, like I said, the first 5 chapters aren't even about cleaning. We don't even get into cleaning until you get to chapter 6. So it's all about the mindset, all about how to get there, right? The proper tools to use, even where to put your stuff. I even tell you there's a little map in there and it shows you this is where you put the cleaning bucket in the vacuum and blah, blah, blah. And so people that have issues on focusing, when you read the book, there's no issues. There's no thinking. That's another thing too, that I noticed, right? Is that when you're doing any kind of task, whatever it is, and you don't have a plan or a system and you just start on it, right? This is how I feel in my mind. Like I'm spending so much time thinking about what I'm going to do next. Now that might only be a minute or 30 seconds, but to me, that feels like a long time when there's nothing else going on in your mind, right? So you got to think, close your eyes for 1 minute and think to yourself, what am I doing next, right? And so that in the morning, if I have to get up really early for a meeting, especially when we're traveling, I have to get up at 4 or 5 sometimes to get ready for a meeting. And I would always pick out my clothes, pick out my lunch, make my lunch. I would do everything that I could at night because I didn't want to have to think in the morning because I felt like it took so much time. So that takes a lot. I think that's a lot of why people say it takes so long to clean, because you just kind of look around and you go, okay, well, I get to next, and then you just kind of randomly, jumping from one task to the next, and so, but for, I know that I wrote the book But I'm just telling you, the reason why I wrote the book was because I just had to share this with everybody. I have to. And I just keep thinking about the time of year that it is right now. And the other thing is, let me just show you real quick. Like, I know the book looks really fat on my screen back there, but look, you guys, look how thin it really is.
Oh.
So it's a really easy read. If you just sat and read, not read to absorb, but just read it, it wouldn't take you 40 minutes. Okay. But the reason why I wanted to do that was because the whole point of it was I was trying to make people's lives easier, make their quality of life better. And I just thought not having to read some complicated jibber jabber fluffy book about cleaning was going to make that happen, right? So it just gets right to the point, right from scratch. And but it makes a great stocking stuffer. So even if you're not interested in weekly house cleaning and the tips and tricks on how to get that done, believe me when I tell you, people out there will be a very happy camper.
I don't know that I would get away safely giving that to my wife.
I was having the same thought. I was like, that's real passive. I mean, I might get it for myself.
I think, it's funny because I try to put myself in other people's shoes, right? And it's hard, right? Gift giving is always hard, right? Especially if you're married or you got a girlfriend and you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. They might take it the wrong way, whatever. But I think that, put a pretty bow on it. Buy her go on Amazon and get her some nice cleaning towels. And I'm telling you, she will thank you forever. If she gets mad in the beginning, she won't stay mad for long. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Well, and there's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun tricks in there too. Like so you guys must have cleaned your bathroom counters before, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's hair, whether it's long hair from shaving, animal fur, whatever's going on, there's always hair on the counter. So what we instinctually do is we move stuff around, right? We get everything off the counter. We just spray some stuff on there. Then we take a rag or a sponge and we just start moving the hair around. It just moves from point A to point B. You're like, oh my God. And for me, it's time consuming because you got to keep rinsing the rag. But what I hate most about it, how I'm laughing because it's aggravating. You just you're swearing at the hair, right? Like, oh my God, who left all this hair there? And it's yours, right? So one of the tricks I have, another prop, is you take this fancy little $8 from Amazon ostrich feather duster. And when the counter's still dry, you just brush off a couple swipes with the hair. It falls to the floor. But don't worry about that because we pick that up when we get to the vacuuming part, right? So now the countertop has no hair on it. So imagine the difference when you spray it and wipe it. Now you're not mushing hair around all over the place. So things like that, fun little things like that, trips about vacuuming, little, a whole bunch of stuff like that. So I can't imagine that anybody would be mad at you for buying that book.
I'm definitely a push everything on the floor, I'll sweep it later kind of guy.
Yeah. But the good thing is that with the system, you follow through, we do one part first and another part. And then the bathroom is one of the rooms that we stay in. The other rooms will jump around in when it comes to dusting and mirrors and stuff, but the bathroom, we stay in there. We don't move. And so unless you do the floors, like obviously the floors are always last, right? Because we're trying to find a system where you're not repeating it, like dusting. Right. Some people will just start dusting on the bottom and then they go to the top and they start dusting on the top. And what they just dusted fell on the bottom. And then they're dusting that again. Right. So the new rule is top to bottom all the time. Right. And it's counterintuitive. Right. One of the things I do, in the book, it tells you can go on the website and you can print these printer-friendly little guidelines. So it's just an outline, so that at first, when you're first learning the system, you can just print these out and you just stick them in the bucket, the cleaning bucket with you, and take it around. So you don't have to take the book or memorize it, right? And then follow that. And then, if that gets ripped or torn, you just print out another one. I make sure that there's no pictures or anything, so everybody's not using up their ink. I'm an environmentalist at heart, so I'm always thinking about that kind of stuff. And then I tell people the most amount of time you would ever have to refer to that cheat sheet would be 3 times. I think most people could do it at 2. The reason is it's counterintuitive. Everything, top to bottom, you walk in a room and you just walk in a circle. Left to right, you pick it. Right to left, right, you pick it. That's another thing too. The book it gives a lot of advice and a lot of suggestions and instruction, but I talk over and over again how this is about you. And that's why I don't recommend certain products. Now, if you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, I do give product recommendations, but not in the book, because I want people to experiment, talk to their friends, their family, try their own stuff, see what they like, because the book's about you. It's, I'm giving you a suggestion and teaching you a system, but I want you to be able to feel comfortable with how you want to do things. So I tell everybody all the time, if you want to change it up, change it up. But the bottom line is when you're done, it's about you and how you like to do things. And again, right? If you get to do things the way you like to do them, your attitude's much better. So it's not like some kind of strict bossy book where I have to do this because Pauline said so.
I definitely like the idea, and I mean it does really apply to everything. Is having the proper mindset to really get in the groove and swing of things. But one of the things that I thought was just so fascinating, and I want to talk about a bit, is your book has augmented reality.
Yes. Isn't that awesome? I'm glad you caught that. I always forget to bring that up, and it's so cool.
Yeah, I love tech and gaming and stuff like that. So when I seen that, I can't think of any other book I've seen with augmented reality.
So here's the deal. I am only the 15th person in the world that has a book published with augmented reality in it. And I just lucked out because the publishing company that I work through, Hasmark, is the first publisher in the world that has augmented reality in their books. So, and now they just developed their own app. So now you can use their app to use it. But yeah, so do you want to tell everybody what augmented reality is?
Well, basically, you guys could just point your phones, you're using your cameras at either a page or maybe somewhere in your house. I don't know how this one particularly.
So on the book, I have what they're called markers. AR markers, right? So there's certain places where you're going to see the marker. In my book, the marker is actually because I have this thing called Pauline's Pearls, and it's short for pearls of wisdom that I use on Facebook and on Instagram, and so it gives you a really good cleaning tip, or some of them, like I said, some of them are about product recommendations. So it's a shell, an oyster shell with a pearl in it. So it says Pauline's Pearls. So everywhere that you see one of those, so it's the marker, you point your phone at it and the video pops up. And so you could actually watch me teaching you and showing you how to do certain things. And this thing is one of them. That's one of them in there. So yeah, it's really, really, really cool.
That is really cool. I'm kind of like speechless. I'm like, man, I'm just thinking about technology. I'm just like,
yeah, so cool. Right. So even if you don't want to buy the book for a cleaning, Skylar, you got to buy it now just to check out the AR. I'm
interested. You had me at the beginning, but now you really have me.
Well, I'm
very interested
because I know this is available via Kindle. So does the augmented reality work through that? Are the markers still placed within the Kindle version? Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Excellent.
Yep. It is. You can go to my website at No Time to Clean. Call Pauline. I'm sorry. You could go there at the name of the book.com and get it. But if you go to PaulineIreneStacey.com, that will take you to the website also. And but you can also purchase it at Barnes and Noble and Amazon.
Yeah, and for our listeners and viewers, we always have any and all links possible that you would like us to share in your socials, any products that you're promoting, down in the descriptions below, so everyone will be able to scroll down and click that. I'm super impressed. I mean, I'm
working next. This is awesome. I'm going to be publishing it in Spanish. I've had a lot of requests, especially South Florida, right? Everybody's, yeah, definitely.
No, my wife's Spanish. That's why I would probably be killed if I give her this book, but I might try it. I think.
Yeah.
She definitely does not like being told how to clean or do much of anything. She does really good. Her system is mainly just bossing me around, and it works great for her.
That's a good system.
That's a good system.
So I mean, I don't know. I will say this: having a system in place is definitely a lot nicer, because there are times that like we just kind of get in a groove where like one of us is washing dishes, one of them's drying dishes, one of them's doing this or that, like just working in yin and yang, for lack of terms right now.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's true. I've had people ask me also about because the book is focused on weekly house cleaning again, so it's just to give people a way to use a system to get their weekly house chores done in a short amount of time, to take their weekends back, right? That's what I tell people, like, you can reclaim your weekends now. But I've had many people ask me about like hoarder situations. And then I had an interview last week where they asked me like, what would be my recommendation for because the holidays are here, right? Like cleaning up after, like, I go, well, the book is not about that, but here's the beauty of it. If you read the book, then you got the idea in your mind, like a system. And again, remember we talked about doing one thing at a time. So I said, I would just tell somebody, and I do this all the time, every time I go to a gathering or, somebody's party, whatever, right? And everybody leaves and there's the house and you've got dishes everywhere and napkins and, paper plates or whatever. And I say, well, if you just look at the whole big picture, yeah, that's depressing. I mean, I would be lying to you guys if I said, oh, that's okay, don't worry about that, right? But you have to look at one thing. So what I would do is I would look at, okay, let me get like maybe all the paper plates out, right? And then have that done. And then the plates that have, eaten food in it, right? You want to scrape those off and then stick them in the dishwasher. Now that's done. And then now the food, well, obviously I would do this first, but the food that has to get put away, because, there's leftover food that needs to get put away. So I would do that first. But can you see how just listening to me say this, right? You don't even have to close your eyes. You can see how the mess is looking less and less and less, and you just don't get overwhelmed. And that's the biggest part of the book, is to teach you, when you use the system, you don't get overwhelmed, you get things done faster. And then, if it's at the end of the party, you get to go to bed earlier, or if it's weekly house cleaning, you get your Saturday, you get the rest of your Saturday to yourself. And here's another tip. Everybody brings this one. Everybody that has read the book brings this up, because this is what, for some reason, this is one of everybody's favorite, but a little sarcasm comes in this part of the book. But I'd say another trick. That's not a trick. It's something we all do all the time. We just don't think about doing it when we're cleaning, right? Is blasting the music. Play your favorite music. How many times have you had something you had to do, whether it's a traffic jam, whatever's going on, you put on, you're blaring your favorite songs or whatever, you're jamming, right? And time goes by so fast. And so I'm like, and if anybody in the house, it's Saturday morning, let's say that's your cleaning time, and somebody's complaining about Mom or, Pauline, turn the music down. You know what I'd say? The next time you do the weekly house cleaning chores, you can play your favorite music. Right?
There you go.
What's on your cleaning playlist?
Oh.
My cleaning playlist? Oh my gosh. I don't know. I can't help it. I'm so stuck in the 70s. I can't.
I'm right there with you. I love the 70s.
That was music, man.
Good music.
It really, really was. Like anything from the 70s, like top 40.
I'm a big 80s fan.
Classic, classic rock. Like just, I don't know. I can't
listen to like.
I can't get out of it, and it always seems like we're attracted to what we grew up with, listening to, like whatever that era was, and that for me was the 70s. But I also was exposed to a lot of like 50s, a lot of the 50s stuff. And even polka. My father used to listen to polka, and
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, right. And so it's just, it's kind of like comfort food, right? Like when you're feeling blah and you think of something that Mom used to make that made you feel good. Or like we have like a feel good show, like what's your feel good show? Like, Dick Van Dyke or something, and I like that, you know what I mean? And so with music for me, it does takes me back to good times, but it just was real music. It was just, lyrics. The lyrics from the 70s are just to die for. But I digress. That's a whole other show. Hey, bring me on for that show.
I find that like with cleaning, you want to have structure. So when you're doing it, you can be mindless with podcasts or music.
Yes.
So you want to not
100%.
think about it. It just kind of comes like that.
You got it, baby.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
That's what I'm picking up from all this. Structure is important.
And then you're done. And again, how I was saying, when something is done, you're not thinking about it. And trust me when I tell you guys, the women or the men, whoever is tasked in the household to be the one that's in charge of cleaning, that's all you do is think about it. It's never off your mind. So, that's one of the biggest. And that's why I say, like, even if you read the back of my my Zoom background here, right? Teaching people how to save time, money, and stress with practical solutions to everyday common problems of keeping their home clean. And here's my favorite part: improving the quality of life. Right? That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I remember as a kid, my mom, she would say spring cleaning time, and the windows would get cracked open, agents would be blaring.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was so nice to have like the cool breeze coming in. You get the fresh air. You're just feeling good. You're listening to music. And
yes. And you know what's funny is now, because you're in Florida too, so you can relate.
Yeah.
Now our spring, I call it the fall cleaning, not the fall, but was spring fever. That's what we used to call it, right? Spring fever. So now in Florida, we do the opposite at the fall, right? That's when we open up the windows and we let the fresh air in. And so I call it, it's fall fever. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
We certainly don't have cool weather in Florida. I mean, it's pretty nice today. It's not terrible. I'm still waiting for that real nice cool weather. But no, I mean that's awesome. And now that I know the augmented reality works on the Kindle, because I gotta say, as much as I do treasure like physical books, I love the Kindle. It is just so much nicer to just hold it there while I'm in bed.
But one of the things is one of the reasons why I really wanted to do the actual paper book, because people was like, oh, you're an environmentalist, why are you doing a book? People still love to hold a book. But I'm going to tell you, I mean, I've been here in South Florida for 38 years, and I live on the coast. So it's all about the beach. And nobody can read a book on a Kindle at the beach because of the glare. So everybody still has to take paper books.
Well, there is that. So I have a Kindle. It's got what they call paper ink screen. So it's that's black and white.
Yes,
so
that's relatively new. So that's different. Yeah. I think they invented that for the South Florida beachgoers.
I'm definitely an audiobook guy. That goes back to cleaning,
Me too.
I can't focus on reading because I try to focus and I'm like, I got to reread a paragraph like 800 times just to like sink it in. So I'm like, I'll just apparently it's the same. It uses the same part of your brain to listen into an audiobook as it is to read. So you're absorbing the same exact way.
You are. And I agree with you 100%. And it's not so much my attention span as it is, I don't know how to explain it, but I love listening because I'm killing two birds with one stone. And I do it all the time in the car, whatever. I've had people ask me if this is going to be an audiobook. It will be eventually. I just want to get it out there right now and see what the feel for it is. And, my goal really is, this is going to sound crazy to you guys, but it's a hefty goal. But I would love to sell 1 million of these books. And it's not about the sale part. It's about putting it in people's hands, right? So they can, not knowing that there's a system to help you have a better family, have a better quality of life, and then again with the lesson, because you guys have already picked up on it, right? Just the lesson from the book. Like if you use a system to get something done and you have a plan, which is kind of the same thing, right? A plan, a system. It gets done faster and you have a better attitude about it. And so, with the book, No Time to Clean, listen to Pauline. People say, well, what's your target audience? Well, everybody who's not living in a cardboard box, right? Which is most of us, right? So that's one of the reasons why I just find such beauty in the book, is because it's a topic that every human being has to deal with, one that no one's ever taught us how to do, and one that most people, and I even use it, I think chapter 1 says, why do we hate cleaning? That's the actual title of chapter 1. So I just would love to be able to do that. And so once I get a feel that the book is going to roll, 100% audiobook, because I'm like you guys, audio is the way to go. And the other good thing about that too is that you could go to the website and then download the cheat sheets, so you don't even have to have the book, right? If you do the audio.
See, now that if you're going to go for an audiobook, you got to get Skylar and his amazing team to just do an entire
amazing. It's just me. I am the team.
There you go.
No.
So Tyler, you do the reading, because you have to hire somebody. It's a whole every time you do, even in Spanish, when you publish a book in another language, you literally are starting from scratch. It doesn't matter, the book might have been written. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I wrote this book 33 years ago. So even though the book's written, it still has to go through the publishing process. And that's hefty. It takes a solid, and I mean solid, dedicated, devoted, doing nothing else but just publishing your book for 3 full months. It's just working with the publishers every day, all day with the team. And so you have to do the same thing. If I do it in Spanish, the only thing is I don't know Spanish, so I can't proof it. I have to find somebody else that can proof
translators.
it.
You got to tell me. So what is I'm sure publishing a fictional book versus I guess would count as a self-help book. I assume the process is very different.
Identical. It's identical.
Is it real? Okay.
There is nothing different. There's all the steps. Every single thing is identical.
So do you have an agent, or is it just, did you reach out?
I did what they call co-publishing, which is a beautiful thing because you own your book. So you get all the royalties, you get the say, you can do whatever you want with it. So you just pay, you pay the fee for them to do the co-publishing. But Hasmark, the company that I worked with, I have to tell you guys, are to die for. They are top A1 professional. The people that they work with, the branding, that's another thing too. They have a branding person, so you get branded. I mean, every detail, no stone is left unturned. And the people that work for them are the top A1 of whatever their field is. So whether it's a branding person, whether it's, you have to have your book, trying to think of the two different processes, because I always thought it was the same thing. When you have somebody reads it, right? The proofreader is not the same person as the one that, reads it for the English and the content and all that kind of stuff. They're all different people. So it's just chopped up. There were 8 different people that worked on the book. And then you have artwork, right? So if you want to have artwork in there, you have somebody to work with to do that. They even have somebody, if you don't have a website, to do your website for you. So they're just phenomenal. Yeah. I as you can tell, I would recommend them to anybody. I think I even have on my website, what I wrote for them on their blog about, to kind of endorse them for anybody. But it doesn't matter, children's book, novel, science fiction, the content of the book does not matter. It all has to go through the same process. But I would totally 100% recommend co-publishing. It is the way to go. Absolutely. Because you own your book, you have all the rights, you make all the royalties. Keeping that in mind.
If I ever get around to writing a book. I've been stuck on the same chapter for about 10 years, but
just, you know what? Just follow your heart. Just write it, man.
That's why I started a podcast, because I was sick of trying to write.
And a lot of people think that they wait for they wait for the final product to be perfect. I think that's what holds everybody up. And when you go through this process, there is no perfect, right? I mean, you can't fathom how many times I read my own book because I had to read it for the proofing, and I still can't say that person's name, right? The one that there's a proofreader that reads it for mistakes,
Sure.
typing mistakes or then there's the person, I don't know why it's you guys got to help me out here, but that reads it for, sentence structure and is this proper English and blah, blah, blah.
Syntax, right? Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's one of the words. Yeah. So I had to read it. So they would fix it and they'd say, okay. And then they'd send it to me. And then I had to, sign off on it. So I'd have to read it over again. So over and over and over and over. And to the point where I knew the book by heart a couple months ago. Right. But then what happens is you keep yourself, you say, oh, I should have said this. I should have wrote that, So there is no perfect. Get it out there. And here's what I tell everybody. Nobody knows what you forgot. Nobody knows what you didn't forget. You know what I'm saying? It's like nobody knows.
Well, the process is very similar to from what you're saying is like writing music or when you're writing a song, you hear a mistake that's actually not a mistake. It's just something you're not preferential towards. And then I've had producers be like, dude, no one will ever notice that. You just wrote the song, so you notice it.
Exactly.
And I've showed people songs I've done, and I knew there was a part coming up that I was going to hate. I don't mention it. And they're like, that sounded great. And it's like, so I've always thought that making a masterpiece is like the key to that is to never make one. Just keep putting stuff out until something lands.
Exactly.
So you got to start somewhere.
Correct. Yeah. Yep. 100%.
Makes sense. I think one of the things that I'm still trying to wrap my head around is you said you wrote this 33 years ago, and
yes.
I would have guessed you're like 29. So
I will be exactly in a month from now. I will be 60.
Wow. Congratulations.
Well, you look absolutely phenomenal for 60.
Well, thank you. You guys just.
I could not tell.
I didn't. I had no clue. That's why I was like,
hey, that's what happens when you have a positive attitude, right? Don't you notice I laugh at everything? It's like, whatever,
There's
nothing in life you can take too seriously because that's when you get the wrinkles, right? It's like the frown lines, right?
That's true.
The depression.
Yeah, I already got these crazy, I'm me. So that's awesome. I mean, clearly.
Yeah. Well, what happened was, I told you guys that when I figured this out, I said, I have to tell the whole world this. I mean, I really have that thought. And so I write it down and then I just decided, what if I'm wasting my time? So I would grab my 5-year-old daughter and go sit in the old fashioned brick and mortar bookstores at night. I don't even remember if it was Barnes and Noble. I don't even what it was called 33 years ago, but I would just sit on the floor with her. I would go to like self-help section, like you said, and go on the floor and sit on the floor and just look through all these cleaning books. And I was trying to see if there was something that had what I was writing, which was the system, like a step-by-step instructions. Nothing. I would do the same thing at the library at college. I'd go to school and I'd go to the university and I'd sit there and look, and believe it or not, they have how-to sections too. And there was nothing like it. And so that's why I was telling you guys when I started doing interviews, and I was like, oh yeah, there's nothing like it. I was like, oh crap, I better check. I didn't have Google to check before. I better check Google. And I swear, I looked and looked and looked because I don't want to say anything that's not true. And I just couldn't find anything about a system. There's organizing and all that other kind of stuff, but so back in those days, publishing a book, it was like a 1 in a million shot. You'd send your draft to somebody and it was like a joke, and then nobody published how-to books back in those days, right? And so time would go by and then I would revisit the book and I'd polish it up a bit and then I'd think about it and it'd be the same thing, and it just kept going like that. And then finally when the pandemic came, and now I knew that they were, I had learned about it through a program that I had joined, a coaching program I joined during the pandemic. And I was just like, this is it, man. This is the time. It's like, there's a reason why God did not want me to publish this book 33 years ago, right? It's like, this is it. Everybody's home. It's and nobody now, besides the fact that everybody's home, you're cooking every meal there. So you got the kitchen and the bathroom and the kids and yourself and the husband. And for some people, it was even grandparents were staying with them, And then in certain parts of the world, well, even here, but definitely like in Canada, they just recently kind of opened back up a little bit, but they were not allowed to have anybody in the house. So you couldn't have somebody come in to clean the house. And then there was also the issue of people that had always had a housekeeper. They paid somebody. So not only now are you not allowed to have somebody in your house, but you can't afford it. Everybody took a financial hit, And so one day I was just like, when I found out about, this company and stuff, I was like, this done deal, man. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, and you guys, I want to warn you, be careful. Be careful for what you wish for, because it was like one little Zoom call. And 3 months later, my book's published. So remember, I said it's like a whirlwind. Like, wait, what just happened? You're like, wait. I just said I was thinking about it, but now it's published. So it's like it happens fast. But enjoy the process. But don't wait for perfection, Skylar. It's not going to happen. Just do it, and then the world will appreciate it. Yeah. So that's how it happened.
That's crazy. And I guess the $1 million question is, do you have a big tip for those who are trying to keep up with cleaning and the mindset while being chased around and terrorized by their children?
Yeah, my kids are pretty rough.
So, I one of the posts I'm going to be doing really soon is about little tips on little tricks. They're really good tricks. I like tricks instead of tips. I like things that are fun. A trick to me sounds like fun. But I'm going to be doing that on how to do upkeep during the week. But here's the thing, you guys. Remember, we talked about when things are out of control, right? When it's a big task, when you don't normally do weekly house cleaning and you just wait for it to get to the point where you're just like, if anybody walks in my house, they're going to put a straight jacket on me.
I feel very attacked right now.
And we just met. Not that I know anybody like you guys, but it does. It gets away because you get overwhelmed by it. So you keep putting it off. So I tell people with the book, right? I'm like, look, I know I'm promising 3 hours or less, but the first few times, you kind of have to get it. You have to get it there, right? So I would just say, follow the book, follow the instructions, and don't look for perfection. Don't think there's, you know what I mean? Here's the bottom line. Okay, let me just tell you another thing. Like, this will help you out. Understand what I'm saying. One of the things in the book I talk about is like, we say, okay, there's no way now, new rules, right? We're cleaning on cleaning day. Period. End of story. So if there's stuff all over the counter, if there's toys on the floor, I don't care what the scenario is, you are literally cleaning around it because you are not allowed to pick it up. Now, if you want to do the organizing and the putting stuff away the night before or the hour before you're cleaning, that's all great. Okay. But here's the deal. If there's stuff out there, clean around it. Okay. Because here's the bottom line. When you're done, guess what your house is? Clean. Just because you didn't vacuum around that little spot where the toy is, or you didn't wipe around the counter where that plate was that I told you not to do the dishes. I'm going to be in everybody's head now. Pauline said, don't do the dishes. Pauline said, don't do the dishes.
I'm saying this to my wife when it comes out. That's our biggest problem.
But that's the bottom line, is that something is done. Right. So that the whole cleaning part. So even if, let's say that, on a scale of 1 to 10, your house is, and 10 is being like a disaster because you haven't cleaned in, 6 months, and you're going to take the book, and the book makes it look nice and light and friendly and fluffy, like, oh, just do this, just do that. And you're like, oh my God. But if you start somewhere and you follow the system each week, it's going to get easier and better and faster. So don't look for perfection, right? It's not about the perfection. It's about start somewhere, tackle the job, follow the instructions in the book, get the cleaning cloths. You can go to Amazon, Walmart, any place you can get color cleaning cloths, and follow the Instagram and Facebook for all of the little updates that I give you, all the little fun stuff. Like, one question I can't believe you guys haven't asked me yet, because I think is asked every time I do an interview, is about the windows. And so I keep everybody hanging because that one has been posted, and there's 2 parts to windows. So, just don't, that's my advice. Just, do what you can. Don't stress. This whole book is about, at the end, you're not supposed to be stressed, right? So don't stress about it. Just do what you can. 1 week and you'll catch on. And then it's going to be nothing. And the other, you know what the beauty of it is? If you do this, and that's another thing why it takes so little time, because you're doing it every week. So it's not, because people are like, there's no way I can clean my house in 3 hours. There's no way. I live in Palm Beach County. I used to clean mansions. Palm Beach County is the wealthiest county in the state of Florida. So my clients from I've cleaned some really big, I call them museums. They're not houses. Right? And you're like, it's not possible. It's possible because you're doing it all the time. But here's the beauty. You can skip a week. If you're cleaning your house with this system every week and something comes up and you don't want to clean, you don't have to. And nobody's really going to notice. The bathroom might be because you kind of spoil when you do it every week. So the bathroom's a little off. You know what I mean? The kitchen's kind of cool because we keep it up for the most part, right? Because we got to eat, and, you want to.
I try.
So you try. That's all we can ask for. But it'll happen. Do you have another $1 million question?
I mean,
do you also do this thing when you mop the floor that I start? So I have like a walk through house. So it starts in one place and goes to the other straight through, no hallway. I'll do this thing where I'll mop the floor to the next room, and then I'll clean the next room while the floor in the other room is drying.
So
am I onto something there?
No, in the book, but hey, A for effort. And here's the thing, right? You're thinking about it, and you're thinking about a system, and that's the bottom line. So if that works for you, that's fine. But with the book, when you do the floors in the whole house, all the floors are last.
That makes sense.
Make sense. You don't go. You're always going back into a room. You go into a room to dust it. You go into a room to do windows and glass. And here's what's happening. You're walking around with one product in your hand, one product and one cleaning cloth, right? And you're doing one thing in each room. And then you walk around the house to each room. So that what's last is sweeping or vacuuming the floors. I recommend obviously vacuuming, but all that's in the book. The kind of tools to use, it makes a huge difference. And you have to read the book to understand this, but you got to check that part out. So, but I do tell you the kind of product, the kind of, equipment you need to have. And that changes the whole game. But anyway, so you're doing your floors, right? And you vacuum first, and then you do the floors last. So you do all the rooms that have carpeting, you vacuum those first. And then whatever floors are left, then you go ahead and vacuum or sweep your floors. And then you mop them, which is the last thing. And so while the floors are, because you're working your way around the house, everything's about a circle. So everything is up to down in a circle. And that's why I'm saying you read this a couple times, the cheat sheet, you won't need it because it's so intuitive. You're like, oh my God, how did I never think of that? I mean, the day that I thought of that, that's what I thought. Like, oh my God, are you serious?
Well, my first job, I was like 19. I used to work at like a factory that made like wiring for it's been so long, like electrical wiring. Yep. So what you do is you would start on one end, you'd have like 10 wires. You'd do like the soldering on all 10 wires, and then you'd move it to down the line and you do the last part. So it makes sense to do one step everywhere and then move on to the next step everywhere. It does make sense. You're not changing tools. You're not changing mindsets. You're just doing
exactly.
So it makes total sense.
Yeah. Because you're just walking around. Let's say you're doing the dusting. You got the dust can and the cloth. And believe it or not, and this is one of my augmented reality, part of what augmented reality video. I actually, you guys are going to laugh, but I actually show you how to fold a cleaning cloth. Now, I don't want to tell you because I want you to buy the book and check it out.
I'm
all right,
definitely curious.
You want me to tell you guys a secret?
Yeah.
How many people listen to your show?
Oh man, so many. We're
okay.
Now.
I'm gonna tell a secret. I'm gonna tell a secret. You can actually see the augmented reality video on the website. It's there. I hide it.
We definitely still got to get the book though.
Yeah, you do. But I show you literally how to fold your cloth. Now, I'm not going to tell you now, so you have to go check out the AR video. But So you're just walking around with the cloth in the cloth in the dust can, and you're literally just doing one thing. So you're top to bottom in a circle, you're out of that room. Walk around in a circle, top to bottom, you're out of that room. And now all the dusting is done in the house. So remember when we started off the show, when we said, imagine your friend knocking on the door and saying, hey, let's go to lunch. If nothing else, all the dusting has been done. Right? And let's say they didn't come and knock on the door till we did the windows and glass, right? So, let's say that you have like mirrors in certain rooms or whatever. Bathroom, we do that. That room is done all by itself. That room is that's a heavy duty room. So we just stay in there. But all the other ones, so then you walk around with your window product and your window cleaning cloth. We don't use paper towels for windows. You can read about that too. And so you do that. So just imagine, right? So what's left to do in those rooms? So now basically it's like, vacuum. Yeah, granted, we haven't done the kitchen and the bathroom yet, but the friend comes, who cares? You get all the dusting and all the windows and mirrors are clean and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So
it's good to feel an accomplishment.
You just took the words out of my mouth because I was just going to say, imagine how great that would feel. It'd be like, well, all right, let's go to lunch and you can enjoy yourself.
Well, I learned to play piano. I learned a lesson that was like, if you just sit down with no prior experience on how to play piano, now I play guitar, so I have some kind of musical experience. But if you just play black keys, that technically counts as a scale, and you can play whatever you want, and it'll sound coherent as long as you have a rhythm to it. And then you get to walk away, or you can start learning a lesson that's going to be harder for you, but at least you start with that like feeling of accomplishment. So you feel confident. I think confidence is key to doing anything properly.
It is. And I'm trying to not have this really big smile on my face as you're saying that, because and you know how everybody has secret dreams. One of mine was always to play the piano. but my dad taught me this song that you play with your knuckles on just the black keys, and you just feel like I'm a musician. I totally get that. It does give you a stroke of confidence.
I learned that.
Watch out, Beethoven.
I was so happy, and because I'm so musically declined. No matter how hard I try, I am too. So that's awesome. Well, I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I will, like I said before, we'll have all your links in the description, so everyone that's watching can go ahead and check them out.
Okay, fantastic.
Check out the site, the book, everything and everywhere. They can check you out via social media, and like I said, big pleasure talking to you. I can't wait to get the book, and I will
be getting the book. Yes, I'm excited.
It was
a pleasure.
When you knew you had a guest on that was talking about a cleaning book, did you ever think it would be like this?
Honestly, I'm always so excited to talk because I've had a lot weirder things go on. So I'm always excited because everyone has a good story. Yeah,
I 100% agree.
And I mean, you're fun to talk to. You found the fountain of youth apparently too. So all is great.
That's what it is. Just laugh.
Yeah.
Drink a lot of water, sleep, and rest. You get rest. No stress. Get rid of the stress, man. Right?
Is there anything you would like to say to our listeners, our followers, as words of wisdom or anything?
Yes, there is. Buy the book. Read the book. And if you don't want to do that for you, do it for somebody in your life, because you literally will change. I know that sounds outrageous, but I promise you it is not. You will change their lives. Absolutely. Yep. It'll make a huge difference in somebody's life. So again, you said you guys are going to put up the link. So just go ahead and visit the website, PaulineIreneStacey.com. Oh, and there is one. I have a request from your audience. I'm looking for cleaning stories. Good, bad, ugly, whatever they are, because I want to start posting them on my blog. And so I'm hoping that, so you can do that. Just go to the website and, you'll see the little thing you could write to me. And anybody can ask me any kind of question about cleaning at any time. I'm wide open. I'll be the one answering it. So it's not, somebody else. But yeah, I want to start putting up some interesting stories I had this gentleman tell me in this interview. And this is what I'm saying. Like, this is the kind of stuff, right? Like, this is how you stay young, right? We had to laugh about everything. But they had just bought a house, and his wife was cleaning one of the floors, and she saw this big blob of dirt. So she went to go clean it, and a frog jumped in her face.
Oh, geez.
Would have died, dude. She hates frogs.
And I'm only laughing because if it happened to me, I swear to God, I would have died. I love frogs, but not when they're jumping in my face.
Yeah.
So I think those are the kind of stories that we need to share with each other, right? And have a really good time and just kind of support each other, you know. So I'm there for the audience. So whatever they need, just go to the website.
Awesome. Well, I definitely have a story to submit, so I'll
Oh, I can't wait.
So, well, again, it was a pleasure talking to you. And,
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And anytime if you write another book, let us know.
Done.
We'll be back.
That's going to happen.
And, well, everyone, stay mindless.
All right. Take care, you guys. Thanks for everything.
My name's Slip.
And I'm Trey.
And I'm Slip.
No, your soul.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
My name's Slip.
And I'm Trey.
And I'm Saul.
Why are you saying it like it's a question?
Sorry.
My name's Slip.
And I'm Trey.
And I just want to know, why are we doing this?
It's a promo for another podcast. I'm gonna write it down for you. Does that sound good?
All right.
My name's Slip, and I'm a bounty hunter.
And I'm Trey. And I'm a bounty hunter.
And I'm Saul. And I'm a bounty hunter who likes to party.
What? Why?
Just listen to Omega Star 7.
Thank you for listening to the Mindless Morning Show. We appreciate you picking us out of the many great podcasts out there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that little bell to get notified whenever we release a new episode or bonus content. Now go enjoy the rest of your mindless day.